Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. This time we take a look at the 1996 Nissan Skyline 280p Ride Type MR. This is a car that I'm sure some of you don't even know exists in Gran Turismo 2, but it is real. It is a very rare car that can be found in the Nissan used dealer, and I remember when I first found out about this as a kid, I was like, whoa, this thing is cool. And back then it was four-wheel drive, which for me was very, very cool, and it didn't look like any of the other R33s on sale. Now, there is a reason for that, and that's because this car should actually be rear-wheel drive, which is what GT2 Plus does, is it converts it back to rear drive as it should be. And this is essentially a modified version of the GTS 25T that you can buy from around the same era of R33. And with that, it does look somewhat similar. The actual base car has a couple of different sort of modifications visually to differentiate it, but they both share the same race mod, which is this one here. I ran it in grey and blue on the GTS 25T. On this I've got it in the white and red, which is the correct colour scheme, because it is based on the Unisea Jex car, and I actually think it looks better as the race mod as compared to how it looks on the actual car. I think this is a really cool looking race mod, and it's a really cool car, this P-Ride Skyline. Again, one that sort of flies under the radar to a certain extent. But if you find it in the used dealer, it's quite a potent car. I'm sure some people actually think as well. Recently, Project A-Spec updated it, so they had a tune shop, and you can buy like the full tuned models from there, and one of those cars is the P-Ride Skyline. I'm sure some people think that might even be a Project A-Spec exclusive, but no, it is in the base game. Now, in terms of what this is, again, it is essentially a modified version of the GTS 25T, and so statistically fairly similar, although this does have a lot more power. Front engine rear-wheel drive, 559 horsepower, 1,196 kilos. That is about 120, I think, more horsepower than the standard car can get to, so that amount of power could affect the handling, but also should make it a little bit quicker. To find out how the Nissan Skyline 280 Type MR P-Ride gets along, it is going to have 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak version. That car set a time of 25.696. This Skyline is unlikely to beat that. In terms of where this is going to go, the standard GTS 25T set a time of a 30.056. So right around that ballpark, this should be getting to. It depends on how it handles its power, but so far, the answer to how it handles its power is exceptionally well. For a 560 horsepower rear-wheel drive car, this is amazingly composed. I don't know if P-Ride did anything to it beyond some power, and that's about it, but it does feel a lot more stable than you would expect. 29.889. Straight into the under 30 club. I think this is the first rear-wheel drive Skyline to get into the under 30s. In fact, it would be the only one as well, because this is the final two-wheel drive Skyline on our list now. After today, that is it. But no, this does drive surprisingly well. I think the only thing that's really off about it, to be honest with you, it's probably more of a blessing that occurs. The gear ratios are a little bit on the long side on this, as they are in most R33s, to be honest. But yeah, I am definitely noticing it here. What are we on? We're on a 5-speed. Are these 5-speed manuals? I guess, maybe? Or is it an auto? I doubt it's an auto. Surely it's not an auto. It could be, though. But yeah, the gear ratios are a little bit on the long side. As I said, that is a sort of Skyline issue in general. We find it mostly on the GTRs. I don't actually remember. Ow! I don't actually remember if it was on the GTS cars or not, the longer ratios, but I'd imagine so. Yeah, it feels pretty nippy. Maybe not quite as quick in a straight line as one would expect. I mean, in theory, what is it doing? 136 kilometers on the straight. It should be a little bit quicker than that, you'd imagine, but maybe not, as we sort of poke in and out of the tyre barriers. Not as clean a first sector. We can sort of get the launch out of there. Nope, lost the rear end there. It's a bit of a shame because that sort of flying lap, I got a bit of rear end instability sort of kicked in there. So that's probably cost it getting into a 29.7. But 29.832, that certainly isn't a bad time on the leaderboard. That actually puts it pretty far up for a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So, yeah, a pretty solid choice, it does have to be said, as far as the rear-wheel drive Skylines go. And it is quicker than the GTS 25T as well. So, I do think this is a car definitely worth picking up if you see it in the used dealer, just for its rarity and the fact that it has quite a cool logo as well. But yeah, it also seems like it has the performance chops as well. Yeah, 0.542 on that lap. So it could have got 29.7. I think it would have been a very late 29.7, but it could have done it. But no, overall, that's a pretty good time, I think, personally, anyway. For a pretty good car, it does have to be said. A 29.832 will place this into 179th place, goes in between the Mazda Affinity RX-7 Type RZ and the Roof RCT. It sort of goes into RX-7 land there. There's a couple of RX-7s on top of it, a couple of RX-7s below it. It's quicker than the C43 AMG, the Turismo BP Apex. It is quicker than the Nissan Skyline GTS 4. That is interesting. It's quicker than the four-wheel drive GTS. Yeah, that really is actually quite shocking. Quicker than Tommy Kyra R, Venturi Atlantic 300 by Turbo. Quicker than a Tommy Kyra ZZ2, but that car's terrible. Yeah, that's a pretty respectable lap time, and again, you know, could have maybe got into that 29.7. It wouldn't be too much like its kind up there. Sort of rear-wheel drive cars. The only one I can really see is the Cerbera Speed 6, and I don't think it's Cerbera Speed 6 quick, but no, a solid choice, one I'd recommend. I think these are pretty cheap as well in the USD as well, but obviously it's a case of getting to it before it disappears, because it is quite a rare car. But anyways, that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when I'll be driving something completely different. Until then, farewell.